Hello everyone, I have been hard at work with the Asuka Spaceplane and therefore haven't had much time to do other things in Kerbal Space Program, so this video is just going to be a feature presentation of what I've been working on here in Blender on the Asuka Spaceplane, so sorry about that. But I have made some interesting innovations to the design of it, and so I would like to introduce some of those. First of all, I've added landing gear as opposed to using some of the other landing gear that's available. Yes, they are lacking some of the struts that I would like to place, but I've got the animation. It's a very simple sort of landing gear, but at least it exists. And you might have noticed another innovation here. We've got a cargo ramp. And so instead of having the cargo bay doors on top, which I'll just keep sealed, I think, we have this ramp here. And so the Kerbals can exit out of the spacecraft like this, or enter like this as well. Though that won't be possible from vertical orientation. If it's already vertical, they'll probably enter through the hatch up there. So yeah. But otherwise, we have a way for them, even when the ramp is extended, to get back up here. I haven't made the railings yet. There would be safety railings around. And so they could clamber up there and walk along the walkway up to the airlock there and then get into the spacecraft like that. So that's how they would do it. And then once it's retracted still, of course, the walkway still works. Yep. After all, they just walk up there and go up there, and so they could ride the cargo ramp up or they could use the ladder. So that's the idea, and of course it has enough room for a simple rover to roll out or other cargo options. I think I'll probably move these back a bit, and that's for one of the other cargo options. So no spoilers on that, at least. Well, some people already know, but I'll keep it a secret for now. Other innovations include the radiators on top of the wings, the fact that the wings now have tiles on the bottom, which they didn't actually before. There are supports for the vertical stabilizers, which used to be on the jets. The jets are sort of hanging out here, but the jets aren't part of the Asuka Spaceplane version, so I'm just leaving them for reference. But we do have the boosters, which is for this version, and so the boosters are there. And I don't know if I have shown it in a video before, but we do have the internal structure somewhat done here. So if I hide the body and the ISRU unit, and I guess for now we'll also hide the wing surfaces, we have this. And so this shows where the tanks are. So those are the two hydrogen tanks, the methane tank and the oxygen tank, and also the RCS tanks up here and back there, including the little helium bottles for pressurization of those. And some of the, we've got the frames and the bulkheads and then two of the stringers, but I really have to have everything else set up before I run all the rest of the stringers, because like they have to go around the RCS thrusters, for instance. We can't have the stringers going through the RCS thruster, so it has to all be placed very carefully, and so I'll have to lay everything else out first, like we have to lay out the landing gear to make sure. You'll notice that here the frames have a gap, and that's for the landing gear, actually. The frame is attached to the landing gear sort of body. If we got the ISRU unit there, and I don't know if I can highlight the body of the landing gear. There. That's the body of the landing gear. So there's the doors, and then that's the thing. And then the frame actually attaches to that body as part, so that becomes part of the structure. So similarly, we have to work around, like the main landing gear had to be not clipping into the oxygen tank, and other stuff had to be rearranged a bit. So Yeah, but it's all clear and it has space to exist. So that's important. And I've also got antennas. So we have up front here, it's antenna situation. So this is the long-range antenna. It's got very low bit rate, but it can send telemetry and basic comms back to Earth. And so that's a pretty big dish for when it's interplanetary and going long distance. There's high quality for video laser. It's an optical antenna. And so that can only really communicate with other satellites around Earth and the Moon. And so those satellites will relay what it sends back. So it's basically a laser that's sending information. And then there's a docking antenna. That's why it's facing the same direction as the docking port. So presumably the thing it's communicating with is up here. We're currently missing some of the additional S-band and UHF because some of them would actually be inside. Like the shuttle actually had a whole bunch of antennae on the bottom, but you wouldn't have known it because they were inside the body of the spacecraft. So I don't feel a need to model the ones that don't need to poke out. These are the only ones I think that absolutely need to poke out. Maybe UHF antenna or two need to be poking out as well. So we've got that business, and I think that just about does it for the improvements to the model. So the goal here is that in the manual, when I render this stuff, and let's see how it looks when it's rendered, maybe. So this is what the render looks like, and it's substantially darker than what it looks like otherwise because of the way the lighting is and the fact that the textures aren't exactly showing up right in the main view. But the goal is for us to be able to show the cutaway views and all the details of where the tanks are, where the RCS thrusters are, what the structure looks like. And a lot of this also means that we get to explain how the operations work and, you know, what people should do when. And when I'm telling stories, know what they're going to be doing at any given time, because it is laid out a certain way. Like we know that they have this ramp now, so we can play around with that option. Still, I have to run the fuel lines all over the place and figure other things out. But yeah, messing with a model that I've already made is a tricky business. It's all very finicky. And, well, I don't know. As usual, I'm not sure anybody else is interested in this sort of thing, but, well, I guess it's good practice for me anyway. So, those are the improvements to the Asuka Spaceplane model, and I hope to introduce them into Kerbal Space Program, obviously, except for the internal structure. That's useless, more or less. But obviously, the animating cargo bay ramp would be good, and the new landing gear and all that business. But I also have to redo the colliders on a lot of things in order to make that all work out. So that's going to take some time as well. And sorting out the animations is complicated because I have to make sure that Unity understands which animation is which. You know, here they're all bundled together. It's KSP convention that the landing gear starts out extended, by the way. But yeah, they're all happening all at the same time, but of course we want them to happen individually, and Unity needs to understand that. So that's going to be another trick. So that's why I'm not showing this in Kerbal Space Program yet, because that's going to be an additional ordeal. So anyway, with that, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do press like. If you have any comments or suggestions, please leave them in the comment section below, and I'll see you next time.